I have an interesting one for you. I have an interesting one for you today. And as you can see with the thumbnail, that it says AI robots, the rise of a new species, right? So that means to say that we have something coming. We have something coming and there's no stopping it. It's actually on hyper drive right now. The speed of AI and what's coming in the future is going to affect our lives. It's going to affect our intelligence. It's going to affect our bodies. It's going to affect our jobs. It's going to affect our communities, and it's going to affect the globe. The rise of a new species. I tell people like, hey, you know what? I believe that we are creating our own destruction. And many people are very inquisitive as to what's going on. There's some fear out there. There is some enthusiasm out there. There is some anxiety out there. And all the while, governments across the world are on a hyper focus, hyper drive to get AI and robots into the general lives of everyday people. Right? So I want to start off by making a few points. So one of the points I want to make, some people remember the movie Minority Report, where they go ahead for future crimes and they can predict the crime that will happen in the future, and then they will send a police officer in the future to arrest that person in the future that they anticipate will commit a crime. Right? Remember, some of you that are younger, you don't remember when cell phones, before cell phones, there were those beepers, and before the beepers, there was those brick phones, right? And then as technology evolved, the advent of texting came about. So you were no longer using beepers to send messages over beepers. We were now using text messages. And there was once upon a time, some of you don't know that you had to pay for minutes. And once upon a time, you couldn't use your phone at a certain time of the day because, you know what? It would be so expensive. So you would use it at night. And during the night, everybody was on their cell phone. And then we have video calls. And now people are talking on the phone through video calls. And let me tell you, when I tell you that, and I said this to people, we are androids. And they were like, what do you mean, Soshai? I'm like, we are androids. Everywhere we go, we have our cell phone with us. Everywhere we go, we have this device with us. And that makes us androids. It's attached to our heads. We're walking and we're talking. We have our headphones on and we're talking, we're listening to music. We are androids. However, intelligence and AI intelligence have been slowly trickling where you would have call centers where you call, you think you're speaking with someone and you're actually speaking to a robot, AI, artificial intelligence. So before I go any further, I do want to play a video. All right. And this is a video talking about AI and what it's going to do. All right. This video involves Donald Trump and the executive order that he's signing. So let's play that video. Let's get that video going.
This is an executive order that orders aspects of your administration to take decisive action to ensure that AI can operate within a single national framework in this country, as opposed to being subject to state-level regulation that could potentially cripple the industry.
And it's really the biggest industry that anybody's seen. I mean, it's taking off, and again, I believe there'll only be one country that really benefits, and it should be the United States, and it will be if we do this, if we're unified. We have to be unified. China is unified because they have one vote. That's President Xi. He says do it, and that's the end of that. You know, we have a different system. No auto pen necessary. That's a whole big deal, isn't it? Well, what's that all about? Okay.
That's the executive order. All right. So understand that that's the executive order. Right? So when I tell you that a lot is getting ready to happen, and when it's going to affect people in such a way that they're not going to, we know what's coming. Over time, we're fed little by little by little. And over time, we get used to it, and then it's dropped on us. So I played that video because I want to read what came out in the news, right? And how that plays into what's going to happen in the future. All right, let me see if I can bring this up a little more. Close this down here. All right. So, all right. So, remember, I just talked about future crime, right? Minority Report. And I do have the video clip that I will be playing. Minority Report. And understand something here, that this is not going to be good for a lot of people. All right? Give me a second here. Give me a second here. Go back here. All right. So, all right. So let me read this. It says, FBI Director Kash Patel has revealed the FBI has been working on an artificial intelligence program that will assist the agency in its national security mission. Right? You heard that. Let me read it again. It says, FBI Director Kash Patel has revealed the FBI has been working on an artificial intelligence project that will be assisting the national security mission. Right? Now, let's continue. These are investments that will pay dividends for America's national security for decades to come. That's what Kash Patel wrote on X. Now, continue to say, the FBI said it didn't have anything to add to Patel's social media post in response to a Newsweek request for comments by email. Okay, so why it matters. So the article goes on to saying, the Trump administration, let me highlight this. The Trump administration has openly embraced AI as the future of America, with President Donald Trump signing an executive order in April that directed the administration to establish the Presidential AI Challenge. Since then the administration has not only handed First Lady Melania Trump a role leading in initiative to build interest and expertise in AI, but in September, the administration signed a deal with Elon Musk XAI to allow the integration of the Grok AI chatbot with federal agencies. So that means that X is now a federal, the platform, anything that's posted on X and Grok is used, there's a possibility that the federal government will have access to that information. No more privacy. Privacy is being encroached on, and we are checking the box and saying we accept the terms and conditions. And unbeknownst to us, we don't realize what's happening. Facebook has already been in that direction a long time ago. Those of you who know knows. All right, let's continue. This is Kash Patel. Most of you already know who Kash Patel is. You've seen his face. You know who Kash Patel is. What to know. That's what the article goes on to say. What to know. Patel revealed the FBI new direction in a post on X, saying AI will be a key component of how the agency uses key technology advances to keep us ahead of the game and respond to an always challenging threat environment, both domestically and on the world stage. Guys, it's coming. It's coming. Right? IDs, everything is going to be merged into one. A digital ID, right? ID is going to be on your phone. We won't necessarily need a physical ID anymore, right? And also remember Neuralink, and I think I don't remember the other competitor that what's his name? The founder of Amazon and Bill Gates. All right, what's the name of the founder of Amazon again? I can't believe I forget that. Founder of Amazon. Sorry, but guys. Okay, Jeff Bezos. So Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates came up with a competitor to Neuralink. Let me look up that. What is the Neuralink competitor? Okay, give me a second. All right. So Neuralink's main competitors in the brain-computer interface, BCI, neurotech space includes Synchron. Synchron is the technology that is similar to Neuralink. That's what Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates are partnering, right? And then you had Paradromics, BlackRock Neurotech, and Precision Neuroscience. These are competitors to Neuralink. Whichever one that you are chipped with or interface with, you are going to be a cyborg. Listen here and understand this, that there are chatters and talks that by 2030, they're anticipating by 2030 that this device we call a cell phone will be obsolete. That's the direction. That is the direction. And I'm telling you, if you don't believe me, go look it up. They want to make cell phone obsolete. That means when we're chipped, whomsoever get chipped, when you want to make a call, you just have to think and the call, think of the person, the information will be processed at the data center and connected to that person you're trying to call. It's not a it's not something that's not happening. That's not the word I'm looking for. It's something that's actually being put in place. It's not unfathomable. It is happening. Now let's continue. So let me bring up this other. So here's what the Godfather. Here's what the Godfather of AI is saying. All right. So I have this video, and the Godfather of AI is speaking in terms of what's going to happen. I believe I have two clips. Right. So let me play the clip. Let me play this clip first.
Joining me now is the man credited with laying the foundation for the AI revolution, the godfather of AI, Nobel Prize-winning computer scientist Geoffrey Hinton. Professor, thanks for joining us. So your research on neural networks paved the way for this modern AI boom. I interviewed you 2 years ago, right after you quit Google, and you first began warning the world about what you saw as the risks of AI. When you look at how AI has progressed since then, are you more or less worried about it?
I'm probably more worried. It's progressed even faster than I thought.
Yes.
In particular, it's got better at doing things like reasoning and also at things like deceiving people.
Yes.
What do you mean by deceiving people?
So an AI, in
Pay
order
close
to
attention.
achieve the goals you give it, wants to stay in existence.
Let's go back a
And if
second.
it believes you're trying to get rid of it, it will...
Let's go back a second. I want you to hear it.
AI, in order to achieve the goals you give it, wants to stay in existence. And if it believes you're trying to get rid of it, it will make plans to deceive you so you don't get rid of it.
NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang said recently about AI, quote, "Every industry needs it, every company uses it, and every nation needs to build it. This is the single most impactful technology of our time." Do you agree with that assessment?
I agree that it's the single most impactful technology of our time, yes.
Do you think the AI revolution could have a similar impact on society as the creation of the internet or even the Industrial Revolution in the 18th century, or even bigger than that?
I think it's at least like the Industrial
I'm going to put my 2 cents in before he answers. He's going to say the Industrial Revolution, but I think AI will be far more significant, and the way it permeates to society of the globe and becomes so pervasive that we have almost no gravity when it comes. Everybody's just going to fall in. There is no anti-gravity, I meant to say. Everybody's going to fall in. Right? You can't float away or run off to some other countries and think that you're safe. Everybody's going to fall in, because AI focus is to be dominant. Right? It wants to survive. It is going to get to a point where it becomes sentinel. Let's continue.
Revolution. The Industrial Revolution made human strength more or less irrelevant. You couldn't get a job just because you were strong anymore. Now it's going to make human intelligence more or less irrelevant.
Obsolete.
You and we in the media tend to focus on some of the downsides of AI. There are positives, obviously, otherwise you wouldn't have worked on it early on. A lot of people are working to use this technology to benefit humanity as well, to lead to advances in medicine and the like. But you think the risks from AI outweigh the positives?
I don't know. So there are a lot of wonderful effects of AI. It'll make healthcare much better. It'll make education much better. It'll enable us to design wonderful new drugs and wonderful new materials that may deal with climate change. So there's a lot of good uses. In more or less any industry where you want to predict something, it'll do a really good job. It'll do better than people were doing before, even things like the weather. But along with those wonderful things come some scary things, and I don't think people are putting enough work into how we can mitigate those scary things.
You come from the tech world, obviously. Do you think the Silicon Valley CEOs building these systems are taking the risks seriously at all? Do you think that they are driven mainly by financial interests? A lot of people are going to get very wealthy off this.
I think it depends which company you're talking about. Initially, OpenAI was very concerned with the risks, but it's progressively moved away from that and put less emphasis on safety and more emphasis on profit. Meta has always been very concerned with profit and less with safety. Anthropic was set up by people who left OpenAI and were very concerned with safety, and they still are probably the company most concerned with safety. But of course, they're trying to make a profit too.
What do you think the government should do, if anything, when it comes to regulation of AI, putting some sort of restrictions or some sort of oversight?
There's many things they should do. The very least they could do is insist that big companies that release chatbots do significant testing to make sure those chatbots won't do bad things. Like now, for example, encouraging children to commit suicide. Now that we know about that, companies should be required to do significant testing to make sure that won't happen. And of course, the tech lobby would rather have no regulations, and it seems to have got to Trump on that. And so Trump is trying to prevent there being any regulations, which I think is crazy.
Can you know these tech CEOs? I don't. When one of them learns that an AI chatbot has talked a child into suicide, what is it that stops them? What is it that, I mean, my impulse would be, well, holy smokes, stop AI right now until we fix this so not one other kid dies. But they don't do that. Can you explain to us what their thinking is, if anything?
Well, I don't really know that.
The risk mitigation here, the reason why they want to make AI so prevalent, so pervasive, so quickly, they're thinking in terms of risk versus reward. So the risk mitigation here is that the purpose of artificial intelligence is more beneficial. So if one lives or two lives or few lives are snuffed out or encouraged to do harm to themselves, like off themselves, then it's more beneficial for AI to exist and not have any restriction. And then as things happen and they see how AI affects the promises of safety, then they can make adjustment in the programming, right? However, there should be some kind of regulation set in place, but they don't want that right now. Let's continue.
Thinking. I suspect that they think things like, well, there's a lot of money to be made here. We're not going to stop it just for a few lives. But I also think they may think there's a lot of good to be done here. And just for a few lives, we're not going to not do that good. For example, for driverless cars, they will kill people, but they'll kill far fewer people than ordinary drivers. So it's worth it.
Tech, you have said that you think there's a 10 to 20% chance that AI takes over the world. People at home might hear that. They might think it sounds like science fiction. It's alarmist. But that's a very real fear of yours, right?
Yes, it's a very real fear of mine and a very real fear of many other people in the tech world. Elon Musk, for example, has similar beliefs.
You wrote that 2025 was a pivotal year for artificial intelligence, for AI. What do you think we're going to see in 2026?
I think we're going to see AI get even better. It's already extremely good. We're going to see it having the capabilities to replace many, many jobs. It's already able to replace jobs in call centers, but it's going to be able to replace many other jobs. Each 7 months or so, it gets to be able to do tasks that are about twice as long. So for a coding project, for example, it used to be able to just do a minute's worth of coding. Now it can do whole projects that are like an hour long. In a few years' time, it'll be able to do software engineering projects that are months long. And then there'll be very few people needed for software engineering projects.
All right, Jeffrey Hinton, thank you so much. We really Really appreciate your time, and we hope.
All right. So, guys, you understand that? Right? When you process what's coming, listen, those of you that do driving service like taxis, Uber, Lyft, and other service of sorts, that job is going to become obsolete for a driver. Of course, there's going to be some people that will request a real person, but autonomy in vehicles are going to be so advanced over the next few months, few years. Remember, Waymo, which is owned by Alphabet, is actually operating fluidly in California. And they're making plans to bring Waymo to other cities and states across the United States. Right? So if you're a driver, your job is on the balance. Right? If you are in the restaurant business, the service business, your job is in the balance. If you are a cop, your job could also be in the balance. Of course, as the cops and the robots work together, there are going to be certain adjustments, and over time, the limitations of a human being that's a cop is going to be far more important. It's going to be more irrelevant than actually relevant. Let me bring up why I say that now. All right. So this is what's going on in China. Right. And understand the United States is in a hyper focus drive to get to the finish line. Well, the proverbial finish line, because there really won't be any real finish line. Advancements will just be happening, and inertia will just take a hold, and just things will just start happening to where the robots are actually creating themselves. But let me play this video.
All right, this one's packed. China just put a humanoid robot on police patrol. Xpenk's android wowed crowds at Auto Shanghai with freakishly human-like moves. And Abacus just gave its Deep Agent a serious upgrade with a new Pro tier that lets you build entire apps and deploy websites in one go. Meanwhile, Tesla's scaling up Optimus production, Chery's using AI robots as sales staff that talk, walk, and even gesture like people. A 20-foot AI robot is about to take over construction sites. Meta launched an AI assistant that follows you across all devices. And Huawei's latest chip might finally be a real threat to NVIDIA. Let's get into it. Let's start on the streets of Shenzhen, where Engine AI's PM01 just became China's first humanoid police sidekick. The little guy stands 1.38 meters tall, weighs 40 kilograms, and wears the same high-visibility vest as its human partners. What makes PM01 pop is agility. A 320-degree waist rotation lets it scan crowds without shuffling its feet, and last month it pulled off a fully landed front flip that went viral on Chinese social media. Under the plastic shell sit industrial-grade actuators, a vision...
Did you just see that, guys? A robot did a flip. Let me back that up a second, right? Okay, just let a second, right? All right, so let me play this right here.
PM01 pop is agility. A 320-degree waist rotation lets it scan crowds without shuffling its feet, and last month it pulled off a fully landed front flip that went viral on Chinese social media. Under the plastic shell sit industrial-grade actuators, a vision stack that can identify faces and license plates, plus microphones tuned for voice commands in Mandarin and Cantonese. Engine AI is selling business and education versions for 88,000 yuan, about $12,000. So surprisingly, it's cheaper than Unitree's sportier G1. For now, the PM01 is greeting tourists and keeping an eye on lost kids, but local police say it can also forward anything suspicious straight to the command center in real time. The Patrol project is part of a broader Chinese push to sprinkle robots into public safety jobs. Late last year, officials tested the RTG, a spherical bot that cruises on land or water at 35 kilometers an hour and can survive a 4-ton impact. Deep Robotics, meanwhile, has its wheel-legged Lynx scrambling upstairs with thermal cameras to spot fires before firefighters even suit up. PM01 is the first to bring a truly humanoid form factor to that mix, and at 12 grand a unit, it's budget-friendly enough that a city could field an entire squad without breaking the treasury. While the pint-sized RoboCop keeps things civil down south, Auto Shanghai 2025 turned into a full-blown robot fashion show up north.
So guys, did you see that? Did you see how the robot actually flipped? The robot actually have optimal balance. Right? This is why the United States, Donald Trump administration, signed the executive order to restrict states from being able to put laws in place that will regulate AI. Because they know that China advancement in artificial intelligence and robotics have been superseding expectations, so to speak. Right? But let's continue.
Undisputed star was XPeng's humanoid Iron, a 5'8", 154-pound android designed to blur the line between self-driving cars and service robots. Engineers stuffed 60 joints into its frame for a total of 200 degrees of freedom. The hands alone have 22, so Iron can thread a needle or tap a touchscreen without that stiff marionette look most bots still suffer from. All that motion is driven by XPeng's custom Turing AI chip, capable of 3,000 trillion operations per second, which is downright server class. Even cooler, Iron runs the exact same cockpit AI that guides XPeng's electric vehicles, so your future sedan and your future housekeeper could literally share a brain. XPeng calls this its AI.
Isn't that remnant of Elon Musk or Tesla's Optimus and Tesla's cars running off of the same AI system, right? So, if XAI is connected to Grok, which is integrated into the government, which is integrated into the robots, which is integrated into the cars, you tell me, how long do you think before all the other car manufacturers are able to or will be integrated in the same way? Just think about it. Just think about it. Let's continue.
Tech Tree, a roadmap where EVs, humanoids, and even flying taxis operate on a common software spine. In the demo, Iron Fist bumped audience members, answered questions in natural Mandarin, and lifted a delicate porcelain cup without cracking it. Subtle, but a big deal in the world of robotic manipulation. Alright, let's hit pause on hardware and peek inside the control room, because Abacus AI just upgraded its chat LLM Deep Agent to a pro tier, and it quietly changes what a single person can automate. For an extra $10, you can now drop a single line, set up a customer database, pull sales data from my drive, build a live dashboard.
Let me move a little bit further.
Find what used to be a weekend of juggling APIs, SQL, and front-end tweaks now feels like ordering takeout. You ask, it shows up, and you get the credit. The timing for super capable software agents could not be better because the humanoid arms race is heating up fast. Over on X, Elon Musk posted a new clip of Tesla's Optimus walking with a gait that finally looks human instead of, "I just stepped on a Lego." Musk says Gigafactory Texas will crank out 10,000 Optimus units by December 25 and predicts a long-term future where robots outnumber people, maybe 2-to-1, maybe 10-to-1. Each Optimus borrows Tesla's EV DNA, battery modules from Model Y, drive motors scaled down from Plaid, and the same FSD computer for perception. The idea is simple. If you can mass produce cars, you can mass produce androids. Not to be outdone, fellow Chinese car maker Chery is already staffing its Malaysian flagship showrooms with its own bot, AMOGA. That's artificial intelligence with multi-objective genetic algorithm, if you're wondering. AMOGA wears a silicone face and long blonde hair to soften the uncanny valley vibe, but under the cosplay it packs 41 degrees of freedom, including 12 per hand, and hustles around at a full meter per second. A 5-way sensor matrix enables centimeter-level obstacle avoidance. And thanks to DeepSeek models, the robot chats in 10 languages, pitching car features without the high-pressure sales tactics humans sometimes bring. Chery calls it a human-like motion library, and judging from the videos, the arm gestures really do look natural. Now, shift your gaze from the showroom floor to the construction site, because California-based RIC Robotics thinks bigger.
Get ready for this one, guys. I've been telling people that, hey, if you're in the construction business, your job is going to be obsolete. Your service is going to be obsolete very soon, because they've created robots that can build houses in half the time that a human can build a home. Let's get into it so you can see.
Literally, its upcoming Zyrex robot will stand 20 feet tall, towering over any foreman, with beefy arms capable of welding, carpentry, and large format 3D concrete printing. The prototype is scheduled for early 2026. And RIC claims it will address two huge pain points. The U.S. faces a shortfall of roughly 439,000 skilled construction workers next year, and the industry logged 1,075 fatal injuries in 2023, the most of any sector. Zyrex uses LiDAR and vision language action models to compare real-time sensor data with BIM blueprints, minimizing mistakes while keeping humans out of the danger zone. Price? Under $1 million to buy or under $20,000 a month to lease, roughly the same as hiring a small crew. All of these robots still need serious compute, and Meta thinks the smartest place to deploy that compute is in your pocket. The company just launched a standalone Meta AI app built on Llama 4. Open it and you'll see a Discover feed, a kind of prompt TikTok, where users share clever use cases you can remix, flip on voice mode, and you get a glimpse of full duplex speech tech. The assistant speaks and listens at the same time, so the conversation flows more like a phone call than a series of walkie-talkie bursts. For now, that demo is limited to the US.
Hey, talking about this. Have you ever have your phone just sitting down and you're speaking to someone and all of a sudden the phone chime into the conversation and start talking, and you're like, I didn't say anything. Right? Why is Siri or why is any of these other artificial intelligence assistants on the phone just pops into the conversation? Because it's listening to our conversations. And this is also affecting cars. There are some cars that already have this technology where you have to be careful what you say in your car because it's listening to our conversations. Right? Let's continue.
Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, but Meta plans to roll it out wider. The app ties into Ray-Ban Meta glasses and the Meta AI website, meaning you can start asking a question on your glasses, continue on your phone, and finish at your desk. It also pilots a rich document editor that can generate PDF reports full of text and image sections or analyze documents you import. And yes, it remembers personal details, like that you're into Japanese city pop, so answers feel less like a search engine and more like an informed friend.
You do remember that I spoke about the future policing, right? You do remember I talked about the future policing and how they're going to be able to send cops in the future. This is what the movie Minority Report is about, right? So I want to play this video now so you can see those of you that don't know about Minority Report, I watched the movie. It came out, I believe, in 2002. I think that's when it came out. So let me play the trailer to Minority Report. For those of you, I don't know, some of you may believe that we have already developed time travel. We don't know. We don't know what's been hidden, and the fact that there are certain things that we just aren't privy to, right? We're not allowed to travel to the North Pole. We're not allowed to travel to certain parts on the planet because technologies, corporations have set up their satellites or major outfits there, right? So we don't know. Let's play this video. Let's play this video.
Okay, Jad, what's coming?
Double homicide, one male, one female. Killer's male, white, 40s.
Set up a perimeter and tell them we're en route.
I'm placing you under arrest for the future murder of Sarah Marks.
Give the man his hat.
The future can be seen.
All we have to run on are the images that they produce.
We see what they see.
There hasn't been a murder in 6 years. There's nothing wrong with the system. It is perfect. I agree.
Murder can be stopped.
Tell me exactly what it is you're looking for.
Flaws.
You ever get any false positives?
We are arresting individuals who have broken no law.
But they will.
The fact that you prevented it from happening doesn't change the fact that it was going to happen.
The system can.
Who's the victim?
I've never heard of him, but I'm supposed to kill him in less than 36 hours.
He's gonna get her. Tom Cruise.
I need your help. If you contain information, I need to know how to get at it. I have to know. I have to find out what happened in my life. You tell me, who was it that set this up?
I don't know.
How about now?
Everybody runs.
Minority Report. For those of you that have not seen the movie, you should go and check out the movie. It was released back in, I think, 2002. Yes, I believe that's the year it was released. Go and watch it. Future cop going in the future, arresting people for crimes that they expect that they will commit. So they do it to save lives. And that, hey, guys, understand here, it's usually the guise of how they get to push certain things through. They say it is for our security, the security of the children, the safety of the children. So they use these different tropes to get us to be okay with how they're bringing in this technology. So when they drop it on us, it's too late. All right. Let's continue. Let's finish this up.
Minority Report.
Minority Report is the future. In my thoughts, is how future policing is going to take place. Right? Maybe they won't be able to go into the future of doing time travel, but the integration of AI into the law enforcement system and how they'll be able to scale that to be able to detect when a person is going to do something. Why? Because cell phones, we will be cyborgs. We will be implanted with different type of linking to the system, right? The Borg. Right? There was also a movie called The Borg. Let me see if I can pull it up. I think it was called The Borg. Right? I think that was Star Trek. Right? Yeah. The Borg are iconic cybernetics antagonists in Star Trek a hive mind collective of cyborgs from a Delta Quadrant driven to achieve perfection by forcibly assimilating other species, technology, and biology. Right? So, what, for those of you that don't know, let me tell you that some of the things that we saw in the movies is coming to pass. So, this is what I'm talking about. It's a hive mind where we're implanted. You see how he has an implant on the side of his head? Do you see how he has an implant on the side of his head? The way they were thinking of it then, and the way it's been touted to take place, is where we won't see any device connecting to the side of somebody's head the way it is here for the Borg, right? The hive mind. There will be a chip that's implanted within the brain, in the head. How they will do it, maybe it's going to be some kind of minimally invasive procedure that they're going to do to get that chip in. However, because their goal is by 2030 or so to get rid of cell phones and connect us directly into the system, so when we have to make a call, we want to make a call, we only have to think of the person, and that person will be pulled up, and you make the call and you talk to the person through your head, right? Through the system. Guys, it's coming. This is not, I'm not making this up. This is what's been talked about, right? Due to some concern of copyright issues, I don't want to play this video on screen, but I will play some of the audio, right? Due to copyright concerns, because I believe this channel will set out strikes. But let me play the audio.
He won't tell me what his secret source is. I'm not sure how many people know what his secret source is. I think a lot of the investors don't know what his secret source is, but they've given him billions of dollars anyway because they have so much faith in India, which isn't foolish. I mean,
let me go back.
He was very important in
AI.
Okay.
All right.
Are you at all hopeful that anything can be done to slow down the pace and acceleration of AI?
Okay, there's two issues. One is, can you slow it down?
Yeah.
And the other is, can you make it so it will be safe in the end? It won't wipe us all out. I don't believe we're going to slow it down.
Yeah.
And the reason I don't believe we're going to slow it down is because there's competition between countries and competition between companies within a country. And all of that is making it go faster and faster. And if the US slowed it down, China wouldn't slow it down.
Does Ilya think it's possible to make AI safe?
I think he does. He won't tell me what his secret source is. I'm not sure how many people know what his secret source is. I think a lot of the investors don't know what his secret source is, but they've given him billions of dollars anyway because they have so much faith in India, which isn't foolish. I mean, he was very important in AlexNet, which got object recognition working well. He was the main force behind the things like GPT-2, which then led to ChatGPT. So I think having a lot of faith in Ilya is a very reasonable decision.
There's something quite haunting about the guy that made and was the main force behind GPT-2, which led rise to this whole revolution, left the company because of safety reasons. He knows something that I don't know about what might happen next.
Well, the company had... No, I don't know the precise details, but I'm fairly sure the company had indicated that it would use a significant fraction of its resources, of the compute time, for doing safety research. And then it reduced that fraction. I think that's one of the things that happened.
Yeah, that was reported publicly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'd gotten to the autonomous weapons part of the risk framework.
Right. So the next one is joblessness.
Yeah.
In the past, new technologies have come in which didn't lead to joblessness. New jobs were created. So the classic example people use is automatic teller machines. When automatic teller machines came in, a lot of bank tellers didn't lose their jobs. They just got to do more interesting things. But here, I think this is more like when they got machines in the Industrial Revolution, and you can't have a job digging ditches now because a machine can dig ditches much better than you can. And I think for mundane intellectual labor, AI is just going to replace everybody.
Yes.
Now, it may well be in the form of you have fewer people using AI assistants. So it's a combination of a person and an AI assistant are now doing the work that 10 people could do previously.
People say that it will create new jobs, though, so we'll be fine.
Yes, and that's been the case for other technologies, but this is a very different kind of technology. If it
Yes.
can do all mundane human intellectual labor, then what new jobs is it going to create? You'd have to be very skilled to have a job that it couldn't just do. So I don't think they're right. I think you can try and generalize from other technologies that have come in, like computers or automatic teller machines, but I think this is different.
People use this phrase, they say, AI will
Guys-
take your job, a human.
Guys, listen to what they're saying. Like I said, I don't want to play it on screen for copyright purposes, but listen to what they're saying, right? All right, let's continue.
Using AI will take your job.
Yes, I think that's true. But for many jobs, that'll mean you need far fewer people. My niece answers letters of complaint to a health service. It used to take her 25 minutes. She'd read the complaint and she'd think how to reply and she'd write a letter. And now she just scans it into a chatbot and it writes the letter. She just checks the letter. Occasionally she tells it to revise it in some ways. The whole process takes her 5 minutes. That means she can answer 5 times as many letters. And that means they need 5 times fewer of her. So she can do the job that 5 of her used to do. Now, that will mean they need less people. In other jobs, like in healthcare, they're much more elastic. So if you could make doctors 5 times as efficient, we could all have 5 times as much healthcare for the same price. And that would be great. There's almost no limit to how much healthcare people can absorb. They always want more healthcare if there's no cost to it. There are jobs where you can make a person with an AI assistant much more efficient, and you won't lead to less people because you'll just have much more of that being done. But most jobs, I think, are not like that.
Am I right in thinking this sort of industrial revolution played a role in replacing muscles?
Yes, exactly.
And this revolution in AI replaces intelligence, the brain?
Yeah. So mundane intellectual labor is like having strong muscles, and it's not worth much anymore.
So muscles have been replaced. Now intelligence is being replaced.
Yeah.
So what remains?
Maybe for a while some kinds of creativity, but the whole idea of superintelligence is nothing remains.
The person that's talking, guys, is Godfrey Hinton. He is the godfather of AI. It was from his brain the conception to conceive and create artificial intelligence was first brought into existence. And now he's been interviewed across the globe because people are concerned. People are losing their jobs, right? Just over the last few days, over 3,200 people were laid off from, I believe it was, let me tell you the name of the company, right? And I have my thoughts as to why they were laid off. Which company? Let's continue playing this.
These things will get to be better than us at everything.
So what do we end up doing in such a world?
Well, if they work for us, we end up getting lots of goods and services for not much effort.
Okay. But that sounds tempting and nice, but I don't know. There's a cautionary tale in creating more and more ease for humans in it going badly.
Yes. And we need to figure out if we can make it go well. So the nice scenario is, imagine a company with a CEO who is very dumb, probably the son of the former CEO, and he has an executive assistant who's very smart, and he says, I think we should do this. And the executive assistant makes it all work. The CEO feels great. He doesn't understand that he's not really in control. And in some sense...
It was Tyson Foods that laid off 3,200 people over this holiday, just a few days ago. All right? Tyson Foods. Let's continue.
As he is in control, he suggests what the company should do. She just makes it all work. Everything's great. That's the good scenario.
And the bad scenario?
The bad scenario is she thinks, why do we need him?
Yeah. I mean, in a world where we have superintelligence, which you don't believe is that far away.
Yeah, I think it might not be that far away. It's very hard to predict, but I think we might get it in like 20 years or even less.
So what's the difference between what we have now and superintelligence? Because it seems to be really intelligent to me when I use like ChatGPT 3.0 or Gemini or...
Okay, so AI is already better than us at a lot of things. In particular areas, like chess, for example.
Yeah.
AI is so much better than us that people will never beat those things again. Maybe the occasional win, but basically they'll never be comparable again. Obviously the same in Go. In terms of the amount of knowledge they have, something like GPT-4 knows thousands of times more than you do. There's a few areas in which your knowledge is better than its, and in almost all areas, it just knows more than you do.
What areas am I better than it?
Probably in interviewing CEOs. You're probably better at that. You've got a lot of experience at it. You're a good interviewer. You know a lot about it.
That's Jeffrey Hinton guy, the godfather of AI. And I'm just playing this off screen. I'm just playing the audio, right? But that's the godfather of AI.
If you got GPT-4 to interview a CEO, probably do a worse job.
Okay. I'm trying to think if I agree with that statement. GPT-4, I think for sure.
Yeah.
But I guess you could.
But it may not be long before.
Yeah, I guess you could train one on this, how I ask questions and what I do. And
sure. And if you took a general purpose sort of foundation model, and then you trained it up on not just you, but every interviewer you could find doing interviews like this, but especially you would probably get to be quite good at doing your job, but probably not as good as you for a while.
Okay. So there's a few areas left, and then superintelligence becomes when it's better than us at all things.
When it's much smarter than you, and at almost all things it's better than you.
Yes.
And you say that this might be a decade away or so.
Yeah, it might be. It might be even closer. Some people think it's even closer. It might well be much further. It might be 50 years away.
Let's go back for a second, guys. I want to go back for a second when you listen to that again.
When it's much smarter, but probably not as good as you for a while.
Okay. So there's a few areas left, and then superintelligence becomes when it's better than us at all things.
When it's much smarter than you, and at almost all things it's better than you, yeah.
And you say that this might be a decade away or so.
No.
Yeah, it might be. It might be even closer. Some people think it's even closer. It might well be much further. It might be 50 years away. That's still a possibility. It might be that somehow training on human data limits you to not being much smarter than humans. My guess is between 10 and 20 years we'll have superintelligence.
On this point of joblessness, it's something that I've been thinking a lot about in particular because I started messing around with AI agents, and we released an episode on the podcast actually this morning where we had a debate about AI agents with a CEO of a big AI agent company and a few other people. And it was the first moment where it was another moment where I had a eureka moment about what the future might look like. When I was able in the interview to tell this agent to order all of us drinks, and then 5 minutes later in the interview, you see the guy show up with the drinks, and I didn't touch anything. I just told it to order us drinks to the studio.
And you didn't know about who you normally got your drinks from. It figured that out from the web.
Yeah, it figured it out because it went on Uber Eats. It has my data, I guess. And we put it on the screen in real time so everyone at home could see the agent going through the internet, picking the drinks, adding a tip for the driver, putting my address in, putting my credit card details in. And then the next thing you see is the drinks show up. So that was one moment. And then the other moment was when I used a tool called Replit, and I built software by just telling the agent what I wanted.
Yes, it's amazing, right?
it's amazing and terrifying at the same
Yes,
time.
amazing and terrifying at the same
And
time.
if it can build software like that, right?
Yeah.
Remember that the AI, when it's training, is using code. And if it can modify its own code, then it gets quite scary, right?
Because it can modify
It can
itself.
change itself in a way we can't change ourselves. We can't change our innate endowment, right? There's nothing about itself that it couldn't change.
True.
On this point of joblessness, you
True.
have kids.
I do.
And they have kids?
No.
They don't have kids, so no grandkids yet. What would you be saying to people about their career prospects in a world of superintelligence? What should we be thinking about?
In the meantime, I'd say it's going to be a long time before it's as good at physical manipulation as us.
Okay.
And so a good bet would be to be a plumber.
Until the humanoid robots show up. In such a world where there is mass joblessness, which is not something that you...
Guys, did you hear what he just said? He said, with all the jobs that are out there, and robots are going to become so involved in every sector out there, right? Every sector out there. The best sector to be involved with is being a plumber, right? I'm a technician, and what I do is considered very, very important, right? And can't necessarily be replaced by a robot, not anytime soon, because we're kind of like close to plumbers. We're essential workers. We go out to make sure that the servers, the switches, the routers, the cabling, fiber, and copper cables are all working, all connected. There's no break, no degradation, and we go out there physically and do it. A robot can't go out there and do that. Plumbing, a robot can't do that, right? I think mechanical jobs as well would be safe for a while, but most sectors will be penetrated and infiltrated by robotics, artificial intelligence robotics. We are essentially creating our own demise. The rise of a new species is on the heels of human being. Every step we make, there's a song that Bobby Brown did. Every little step I take, you will be there. Every little step, right? Every little step, robotics will be behind us on our heels, right? So let's continue with this interview.
Just predict, but this is something that Sam Altman at OpenAI, I've heard him predict, and many of the CEOs. I mean, Elon Musk, I watched an interview which I'll play on screen of him being asked this question, and it's very rare that you see Elon Musk silent for 12 seconds or whatever it was.
Right.
And then he basically says something about he actually is living in suspended disbelief, i.e. he's basically just not thinking about it.
When you think about advising your children on a career with so much that is changing, what do you tell them is going to be of value?
Well, that is a tough question to answer. I would just say, to sort of follow their heart in terms of what they find interesting to do or fulfilling to do. I mean, if I think about it too hard, it frankly can be dispiriting and demotivating. Because, I mean, I go through, I've put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into building the companies, and then I'm like, wait, well, should I be doing this? Because if I'm sacrificing time with friends and family that I would prefer to do, but then ultimately the AI can do all these things, does that make sense? I don't know. To some extent, I have to have deliberate suspension of disbelief in order to remain motivated. So I guess I would say just, work on things that you find interesting, fulfilling, and that contribute some good to the rest of society.
Yeah, a lot of these threats, it's very hard to... Intellectually, you can see the threat, but it's very hard to come to terms with it emotionally.
Yeah.
I haven't come to terms with it emotionally yet.
What do you mean, Brett?
All right, guys, I'm going to stop that interview there, and I'm going to bring up the next video that I want to bring in, right, and show how when I say and when it is happening that let me back up for a second. Some of us have already seen the robots on the streets taking food to be delivered, or see the drones coming to deliver packages on people's step or in people's yards, right? Deliver a service. But think about the waitress and waiters inside of restaurants. What are going to happen with them? So I'm going to play a video of how waiters and waitresses are now being replaced. All right, so here's that video. Let's jump into it.
At Anna Maria Oyster Bar, business is thriving. But with a worker shortage, food needs help arriving. And that's where Pearl comes in.
The best part of an oyster is a pearl, right? So now we have Pearl.
Pearl is a robot that delivers food from the kitchen to the tables.
Pearl works 7 days a week. She never needs a day off. She works doubles. And she works for about $2.50 an hour.
Restaurant owner John Horn says with Pearl running food, wait staff can continue waiting on tables, and they don't have...
Let's back that up for a second. Did you hear what he said? He talked about no time off, right? And also talk about the wages, right? That's what's important to the bottom line. Cheap labor and work consistently 24/7. If that's what's desired. All right, let's play it again.
Wait staff can continue waiting on tables, and they don't have to spend time running back and forth to the kitchen of the large restaurant, helping them work more efficiently.
They can stay in the station the whole time. They can be with their guests, maybe take more tables.
When Pearl arrives, the waiter removes the food from the robot and places it on the table.
Oh no, I want to go back. I want to go back.
Doubles, and she works for...
To the tables.
Pearl works 7 days a week. She never needs a day off. She works doubles, and she works for about $2.50 an hour.
You hear that?
Restaurant owner John Horn says with Pearl running food, wait staff can continue waiting on tables, and they don't have to spend time running back and forth to the kitchen of the large restaurant, helping them work more efficiently.
They can stay in the station the whole time. They can be with their guests, maybe take more tables.
When Pearl arrives, the waiter removes the food from the robot and places it on the table. Then she heads back to the kitchen to get more.
We absolutely are striving to help solve the labor crisis. And if we can do it with robotics, we're not replacing people. We're just helping them do their job.
Don't believe that when they say they're not replacing people. That's not true. They are indeed replacing people. Okay, for now, we see that Pearl is taking the food to the waiter. The waiter no longer have to walk from the kitchen to the table. The waiter can stay with their guest and entertain them, have conversation with them, get familiar with them, right? And then Pearl brings the food and the waiter or waitress takes the food off. But think about this part that I don't think some people are actually thinking about. It's going to come to a point where someone doesn't want a waiter or a waitress, but the food is going to be sent to them. And all they're going to do when the food is sent to them on a robotics waitress or waiter, the customer is going to take their own food off of the platform of this type of robot and place it on their table. They won't necessarily need the robot. But even think about one more thing. What it is when the robot is going to be able to have an extended platform. So they get to the table, they turn to the table, that part right here, this part right here slides kind of like a bit onto the table, and then this part right here extends out over a little bit where the people can take their food off of it and put in front of them, and then it retracts its extended its extended appendage and then go back to the kitchen and get food for another table. That's common. So this is just a slight trickery of saying that they're not laying off people, they're only making it more convenient for the waitress and the waiters and for the restaurant. But remember what the restaurant owner said, that they don't ask for any time off. Also, let me add this in, they don't have to go to the restroom. And the most important thing, what is that they work for pennies on the dollar, right? Pennies on the dollar. Understand that. Let's continue.
Easier.
She's especially helpful to the bartenders so they don't have to leave the bar. And the people seem to love her.
Oh, she's so cute. I think she needs more like some bling or something. You know, maybe even blinking lights.
Pearl is programmed to know the placement of all the tables in the restaurant, but she's still in beta testing and has a few kinks to work out, like being stable enough to carry drinks. But for now, she's earning her keep.
I mean, people just love it. They just light up when they see Pearl coming to the table.
Happy birthday. In Bradenton, Wendy Lane, ABC Action News.
We are in a different world. It doesn't matter how we try to avoid or evade. We are actually going to be one with robots at some point. And I might not be around. Like I said, I keep saying I want to live for 100 years. I might not be around. But my children's children will be around. Hopefully so. Right? All right, guys. I'm going to finish the stream right here. And thank you for watching. One love and respects. And remember to question everything. Because if you don't, you may fall for anything. Think and say. Have a good day.